This is the Royals Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Kansas City Royals. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in to the Royals Postcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chance Liebau, and I'm here to bring you reaction to every single Royals game the rest of the way. You can follow me on Twitter at Chance Liebau. That's right there by my name tag here if you're watching live. If you can't make a show live, do not worry. These episodes will be uploaded for you to listen to on demand wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for making the Locked On Royals podcast or the Royals Postcast your first listen of the day. Before we get started, remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on our notifications so that you get an alert that whenever we go live or post a new video. Thanks so much for joining the show. Feel free to join the live chat. Let me know your thoughts on the game, and I'll do my best to respond to your comments. And if you were here on, gosh, when was that? Was that Wednesday? Wednesday, audio was bad. Guess what? We've got it fixed today. I was hooked up to my webcam. I was hooked up to that audio, and it was really bad. And I got a new webcam. As you can see everything in here. You can see Hyatt down here if you can see it. But yeah, we've got a better webcam now. We've connected the audio. We're really cooking with gas now. So I appreciate you guys being in here. If you hear me correctly, give me a thumbs up in the chat. I'd really appreciate it because I didn't know until after the show on Wednesday that I had bad audio. If I knew early on in the show, I would have switched it over. But thank you guys for being here, and thank you guys for continuing to comment and like the video. All right, let's get right into it. It was not a great Royals game. It was not a very impressive Royals outing. Let's get right into it. Here's what you'll be talking about.
This is what you'll be talking about.
The decision to keep to keep Steven Cruz in the game and not go to Carlos Estevez early, and then to not go to Lucas Erceg entirely. That's what you'll be talking about. We already had Tony come in and say someone is going to have to explain to me, A, Q leaving Cruz in to load the bases, B, Estevez not throwing a 98-mile-an-hour fastball and throwing a off-speed pitch. Tony, great question. I am also confused as to that. Didn't love the decision to keep Steven Cruz in. Didn't have his best command today. And honestly, he had been pretty rusty. He hadn't pitched in a while. I'm looking at the game log. He hadn't pitched since that would have been Monday's game. And before that, hadn't pitched 5 days prior to that. So Steven Cruz hadn't pitched in a while. He had a lot of dust or rust to knock off, and he didn't pitch well. He really did not pitch well today. I am of the belief that relief pitchers are volatile. They can be good at times. They can be bad at times. A guy like Steven Cruz, his value is going to dip. He's going to peak, and he's going to have peaks and valleys because he reminds me a lot of what Carlos Hernandez was for the Royals in those really bad years early in the 2020s, and I think even into the late 2010s. But he's a big guy, 6'7", power fastball, good cutter, slider that's solid. When you have a pitcher like that then struggles with command, it's going to be very hit and miss. And you have to be, as a manager, as a pitching coaching staff, you have to be better and understand when he doesn't have it that night, when he is not comfortable on the mound. And he just didn't look right tonight against the Mets. Didn't look right. You could tell early in that eighth inning, you've got to get this guy out of there because he's not got his best stuff. And I understand having confidence in your pitching staff and having confidence in your guys. That was a little bit too much for me. That was a little bit too much confidence for my liking. Now, I didn't love the idea of going to Carlos Estevez because that's not a situation that Carlos Estevez is used to being in. Lucas Erceg is the guy that's used to being in those situations. And now, maybe Lucas Erceg was unavailable tonight for a reason in which we do not know. He had pitched pretty consistently in the Pirates series. So I understand maybe him not being available tonight for one reason or another. But that's the guy you have to get to Carlos Estevez in the ninth with a lead. I would have much rather seen Lucas Erceg there. And I don't have any inside information in the fact that whether he was available or not. But that's what you have Lucas Erceg for. Carlos Estevez is not a fireman. Carlos Estevez is the ninth inning. Give me a clean slate to start. Not bring me in with the bases loaded in the eighth inning with a chance to potentially blow the game. I don't fault Carlos Estevez whatsoever in that outing. He was just as good as he needed to be. So I was fine with the way he pitched because that's not a spot he's used to being in. That's a spot I would have much rather seen Lucas Erceg in. And I think that you can kind of close the book on a guy like Taylor Clark. I think he's done. I think that he will no longer pitch in a Royals uniform after the All-Star break. 4 earned runs in mop-up duty. He had a short shelf life with the Royals in the first place, and I think that he's probably done. I think that's it for Taylor Clark. And I said that about Sam Long a while back. Like, you're not going to have high-leverage guys stacked on top of each other. He's not a high-leverage guy. You've got to have a low-leverage guy that just comes in and mop-up duty. But tonight wasn't even mop-up duty. It was just keep us within striking distance, and he couldn't even do that. Poor command. Bats ran into barrels. But Carlos Estevez instead of Lucas Erceg, I was confused by that because that's the role we've seen from Lucas Erceg all season. Maybe Matt Quatraro pressed the wrong button when he went to press E on his gamepad, but I don't know. I was not happy with that decision. And for a guy like Steven Cruz, when he doesn't have it, you have to be able to recognize it early. As a manager, you have to understand your personnel. More than anything, any coach, any sport, any industry, any position of management, know your personnel. You have to know your personnel. And tonight, Steven Cruz didn't have good stuff. And Matt Quatraro left him in too long. Now, I think Matt Quatraro's had a really good last couple weeks, or last week or so. I'll give him the last week and a half. So I'll give him this one. But I'm not of the – I think Matt Quatraro is a good manager. You're not going to talk me off of that. But tonight was a blip on the radar of sorts. I think it was – I don't think it's a sign of concern. It's not something that I'm going to be, overly worried about going into tomorrow. But at some point, the blame goes back on the manager. Tonight, Matt Quatraro lost in the game. It's 1 of 162. I'll give him a pass. He has been dealt a tough hand. Tonight was a game the Royals really needed. They really could have used the positive momentum to keep things going into the next month or so of games, and they dropped it. But there's still 2 games left in the series. You have an opportunity to capitalize on some momentum. But there is one thing I am concerned about, and I'll tell you about that next when we come back here on the Royals Postcast, here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Gametime comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Gametime makes it possible. Gametime makes buying tickets fast and simple. Prices on the app actually drop the closer that you get to first pitch. And they've got incredible last-minute deals, clear seat views, and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worry out of buying. Gametime is the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB, making it easy to browse the app for an exciting upcoming MLB game, including the MLB All-Star Game. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Get the supplies that you need from Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. The one thing that I do have concerns about for this Royals team, I am concerned that they are not going to beat good teams going forward. I think this is a team that is going to do some feasting on the famined. Teams that are not good is who the Royals have capitalized on, whether that's the Diamondbacks last week, the Pirates earlier this week, the White Sox at times, the Rockies earlier in the season, the Orioles early in the season. The Royals have really struggled against the teams that rise to the top. And tonight, unable to do anything against Kodai Senga. I've more so been on the train of they've got to be able to beat good pitchers or better pitchers than they have. And they avoided Paul Skeens in the Pirates series, and they were able to get the offense clicking. I think Paul Skeens would have done some unspeakable things to this Royals offense. So I'm a little bit worried that this Royals offense just will not be able to compete with the cream of the crop. And earlier, and I do appreciate the comments, guys. Please keep them coming. I appreciate you guys. And I usually try to wrap up the show with getting to the comments. But Tony brings up a great point. Mets better approach the plate and better plate discipline. Hopefully our batting coach took notes. From that perspective, the Mets have a ton of guys that you are going to have to pitch around. The Mets have one of the most, if not the most, outside of the Dodgers, expensive rosters in Major League Baseball history. You know, Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, and Juan Soto, those guys make up like double what the Royals payroll is right now in total. And those are three guys. And so when you have guys that you fear in the lineup, you have to pitch around them. And then the plate discipline looks better. Salvi's a guy that a lot of people will pitch around, but Salvi will flail. He will not have good plate discipline. But guys like Bobby and Vinny are good guys for the Royals. But the Mets have literally the elite of the elite at the plate. Francisco Lindor is a top three shortstop in baseball. Juan Soto is the highest paid player in baseball history. Pete Alonso is a home run hitting machine. Outside of that, there's a lot to be desired. But that's a really good lineup. Those are guys you have to be careful with, and that's why they're patient, and that's why the Royals pitching staff has struggled with them. The Royals have to have better command on the mound too. That's back-to-back starts from Michael Wacha, where he has not had good command, and it's hurt him in the long run. So they have to have better command on the mound, not just Wacha, everybody else, including Steven Cruz, who was not good tonight. So it's an all-encompassing issue. The Royals pitching staff just doesn't have good command right now. And it's not even just leading to walks. It's leading to pitches over the middle of the plate, longer ABs. That's kind of what I'm concerned about when it comes to this Royals team. But I appreciate the comment, Tony. We'll get to some more. Levi says, Q needs to stop pulling starting pitchers when their pitch count is in the low 80s. Urseg out, it should have been a no-brainer for him to let Wacha pitch the sixth in a tight game. The bullpen can only do so much. Coming off, if they weren't coming off an off day, I would agree with you there, Levi, and I appreciate the comment. But Michael Wacha is a guy that has two pitches. He's a fastball. He's a changeup guy. Third time through the order, they're going to crush him. I understand the move there by Quatraro to pull Michael Wacha, especially with how he struggled late. I mean, you remember back to his last start against the Diamondbacks, things got really ugly in his third time through the order. So I understand it from Matt Quatraro, and I think that going forward, guys like Noah Cameron probably won't have that happen. We saw him go over 100 pitches in his last outing. There's a general basis of confidence from Matt Quatraro in a guy like Noah Cameron. So I'm of the belief that Michael Wacha is a guy that you cannot let go three times through the order because he starts being seen very well through that. Gonna continue looking in here. Mr. Skurs says, you're not winning a game when you have runners on second and third and no outs and can't score a run like we did in the first inning. I don't care about the late inning collapse. Thank you, Mr. Skurs, for bringing that up, because I had the same thought as well. They were destined to lose that game after Jonathan India's stupid base running, just being unable to score, terrible approaches at the plate, just the inability to get a run in there. That epitomizes the Royals' offense as a whole to a point this season. Bad timely hitting, bad situational approaches. So appreciate the comments there, Mr. Skurs. Going to continue here. A lot of people agreeing with each other in the comments. That's great. Skurs commenting again, 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Not a winning recipe. Agree there. Troy saying something has to be going on with Ursig. If not, Q has some explaining to do. I'm of the same belief, and I feel like he'll probably face the music tonight. But, yeah, very, very odd that it wasn't Ursig getting the 8th. Gary saying umps and replay favoring New York teams is unfortunate, but India not scoring in the first was a microcosm of the season. My thoughts exactly, Gary, especially in that second part. I could care less about the umpires. I don't think they favor big market teams, but it's what you're going to get with Major League Baseball. Okay, Gary coming in. So a lot of people present problems and they don't present answers. Gary, thank you. Schreiber in the 8th was probably a good idea if Ursig was out. I agree, Gary. That's a really good point, especially because Schreiber's kind of similar to Steven Cruz in that if he's not on, things get bad. If he is on, he's really, really good. And he's also more of a ground ball pitcher than Carlos Estevez, who's more of a fly ball guy. You want a ground ball pitcher, bases loaded, no outs. So I agree. Thank you, Gary, for bringing that in, because, I'm of everybody loves to bring their problems to the table. Everybody hates to bring in solutions. Gary bringing in solutions. Appreciate it, Gary. Verlis asking if my dog is a Boston Terrier. No, he is a Corgi, and he is not enjoying these late nights. Aiden saying 10 hits and only 3 runs. How does that happen? Just bad situational hitting across the board. And that includes the middle of the lineup. Vinny, Michael had a terrible game tonight. They have to be much better. Continuing to go. Okay, Tony saying Q said Ursig's back was tight, so he stayed away. Understandable. Thank you for bringing that. I'm sure they probably talked about it on the post-game show. So, Tony, thank you for bringing that in. I think that Parker saying they feel like we need to send down both Long and Clark or try to trade them. I mean, who do you bring up? Who is available? They're signing Dallas bleeping Keuchel right now because they have no pitching depth in AAA. Just kind of have to live with it until Hunter Harvey's healthy or Alec Marsh comes back or Kyle Wright figures it out in AAA. So I understand the frustration with Sam Long and Taylor Clark, but those guys are low leverage. They're not going to – I don't think they lost them the game tonight. At the list of their concerns, it's Long, and Taylor Clark and Sam Long are like below the list of concerns for the Royals front office right now. But I understand the frustration. They're not major league pitchers, but at the same time, you got to have somebody pitch in blowout games. You don't want Steven Cruz. You don't want Steven Cruz pitching in those spots, especially with how valuable he's been this year. But I appreciate the comments, guys. I love the comments and appreciate you guys tuning in here, especially with another late night. It was like a West Coast game again. I'm ready to sleep in tomorrow and earn my Saturday pancakes. But appreciate you guys for staying here, coming in late, and complaining about another Royals loss. We'll be back here tomorrow, probably 6-ish, 3:10 first pitch. I'd say around 6-ish. We'll be here, and we'll be talking Royals baseball after Game 2 against the Mets. Michael Lorenzen going tomorrow. I have not seen the projected starters yet for the Mets. I haven't been too tuned in. It's been a crazy day at work. So it looks like Frankie Montas and Michael Lorenzen tomorrow. Another splitter baller going up against a Royals lineup that struggles to hit those. So we'll be seeing it tomorrow. Once again, we'll see you tomorrow. Appreciate you guys for being here. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and all that jazz. And if you're not here live, come join us live when you have the opportunity. We have a lot of fun here, and you can have your comment read live on air. So appreciate you guys being here. We'll see you tomorrow. This has been the Royals Postcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.